Welcome to the Temple of Flame. On today, Faith Acolytes, we take a look at this. And what this is from Spice Doggy Dog. It is the Sailor Sky hot sauce. Very cool artwork. I like this actually. The Spice Dog has a really cool theme actually to their labeling that I'm honestly a fan of. It's very clean, slick design. This is kind of crap the way that they're doing that. I don't love that, but I do love that there's a level stripe. So as far as packaging, definitely a lot of neat things there. So what is medium high heat? Well, that might be overstating it. So we have red sky at night, sailors delight. Red sky in morning, sailors take warning. This rhyme graced many a sailor's lip as they gazed at a rosy orange sunset. A red sky at night met smooth sailing come morning. Red sky in the morning. Better hold on to something. So I presume that means some sort of storm possibly, or so when you have like a red sunset, I mean obviously the weather has to be calm enough for it to not blow away the smoke and pollution that would be causing that. And in the morning, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a sailor. I am not a nautical guy in any sense. But like some of these old legends, I think are kind of like the one about the coral, the red and yellow and red and black and so on. Some of those old memory devices I think are kind of neat. This one I don't know anything about though, but obviously a very nautically themed hot sauce. So let's take a look here at the old ingredients. So we have fermented pepper mash, habaneros, and Scotch bonnet. I don't know, honestly, okay, I don't know what the point of putting those two things together would be. If you have yellow and orange habanero, I don't know the reason that you would add also Scotch bonnet. Scotch bonnet would tend to add more fruitiness and dial it down, but I think that is probably an overconcentration of habanero to have that effect. Interesting idea. I just don't know how much I would think that would work. But so we got pineapple puree, and there's too many other elements in here actually to be able to pull those notes out of it, like most sauces tend to be. We've also got water, yellow bell peppers, kosher salt, brown sugar, roasted peppers, citric acid, onion powder, and cinnamon. Generally, I am not a big fan of sauces with cinnamon, but there's a story behind why I'm doing this one. And you can check it out. I won't rehash it here, but you can check it out on the in the written review on the blog, and the link for that is available in the description down below. But you can see there is some, looks like probably pepper flecks in the neck right there. Okay, and okay, let's get this into a spoon. Ooh, it's got this sort of brown, almost apple sausage sort of color to it. Taste is nothing applesaucey at all. It kind of throws me because, like, I look at this and I'm like, oh, I'm expecting applesauce. Applesauce with cinnamon, actually. But it's a sort of lighter tannish, lighter brown color here. It's a little bit darker than sand. But I think the sauce is actually nice, and I mean it's very pretty. It's got this sort of nice caramel color to it. It fools you a bit into thinking that it's a sweet hot, and I don't know that I would necessarily quite call it that, or actually even what it has to do with the whole red sky business. But let's get into it. It's a very curious. There's a lot of pepper flavor here, but there's a very definite tropical vibe to it. But it's more like a tropical pepper vibe rather than picking up a lot of the pineapple. This is definitely not what you would think of as a pineapple-based, fruit-forward sweet Haas, right? You wouldn't think of this generally in those terms because it is very... It's overly astringent for that. There is a back current of the cinnamon in there as well. By itself, I actually think this is a pretty likable sauce. But there's some nice depth of flavor in there from the brown sugar and a little bit from the onion powder. And onion powder, actually, I could stand to have dialed down a little bit. I wish they would have used garlic instead. But garlic gets used a lot, so not the end of the world. Very interesting sauce. I'm a little confused as to where it's meant to go. And this takes a lot of agitation. And you can get more of the cinnamon notes if you don't agitate it enough. And you see I've got chicken strips here. That's what we'll be having. We'll get to that in a second. But if you don't agitate it enough, you can get more of the cinnamon notes. So I have tried this as a dessert sauce. It's a very long way of me getting to that point, I guess. But very long-winded way, but it isn't sweet enough for that. It is much too astringent for that. So it's kind of, I'm not quite sure where it's meant to go and be paired with. I played around with it a little bit, but it's a sauce that I find kind of interesting, but I don't find it works well in a lot of things, just because it's got a very unique taste to itself. But it does work well on fried foods, which is what we'll be having here. So let's just dial these babies up. Heat is very low. It is very moderate heat. But maybe I might have answered the question I posed earlier by pairing the habaneros with the much better tasting Scotch bonnets. Maybe that's what they were trying to go for. Is a sort of Caribbean sort of tropical vibe, I guess. If we're doing the nautical thing, I don't think you can really, like, this ship the ship that's on here is probably not meant to be a pirate ship, but when people think of ships and sailing and stuff like that, I think because it's been publicized so much, their mind automatically, I think, starts to go to either Vikings or pirates. Which, obviously there's a lot more ships sailed than just those things, but... Alright. I forgot to do it. I meant to look for pairing notes for this. I really just don't know what to do with the sauce. It's not bad tasting by any means, but I wouldn't say it's quite good tasting either. It's a sauce that's just kind of okay. And with those sauces, I might use them up, I might not. I think putting it with something like applesauce, thickening it up a little bit and using it in that way, unlike pork chops, would be really interesting. We're past grill season now, which is the way I like to do pork chops most of the time, but I could, I don't know, maybe get a pork loin, do a nice little low and slow for 4 or 5 hours. I'm not a big enough fan of pork for that, though, I don't think. So, I mean, I think this is just it's a sauce that is fine for stuff like this. Fried foods like chicken or fish. But more so in a change of pace sort of way. I haven't found that this meshes well with anything particularly. But fried foods, yeah, one of the nice things about those is that they're fairly neutral. I don't know enough about Caribbean food to attempt to make any of it. I could see this being at least interesting to try once on something like a jerk chicken. I don't know where I would even find that. I guess if I come across jerk chicken somewhere, maybe I'll get some. Try this sauce on it, but my guess for this type of sauce is I think it's okay. It's nice for a change of pace. And I probably would just leave it in the fridge. Until I realize that I need door space. Door shelf space. And then start jettisoning stuff. And it probably would get... I might make it, a pass or two there. But I don't know that... It just doesn't speak to me well enough, I don't think, to quite make it all the way through the whole bottle, but you never know. I might find the one thing that it's truly marvelous on, but you just get... I'm getting a little bit more of the, on just this one, more of the cinnamon notes. And coming across those here on chicken strips is just jarring. Maybe that's the thing. Try to find some Jamaican jerk chicken or something and see how that goes. And if there is something wonderful, with these sauces, I try to update the written reviews if I find anything. I am going to look on the website to see if there's any suggestions. I can't remember if I looked this up or not. And I can't remember if I found any, which suggests to me that there probably isn't. But it never hurts to double check. You know me, I try to give everything as fair shake as I can. Alright, so this is definitely a composite flavor profile. We have the sauces and the pineapple kind of coming together with some of the other bell pepper notes and some of the sugars to create a sort of composite flavor. There's no one thing that I don't feel is very distinct out of this sauce. The composite I do like. I don't think it's bad at all. I think you could do... It might be interesting in tossing in a chicken salad or putting it on a salad actually might be really good as well. I think you're going to have to get rangy for this one. Trying it on desserts... I tried that because of the cinnamon part of it. It's not sweet enough. It isn't. You would have to add more sugar to this for that to make any kind of sense at all. So yeah, I don't know what this is. Nothing is really suggesting itself as obvious, I guess, with this one. And that's kind of one of the things with the composite sauces is they get an identity, a unique identity unto themselves. And then you have the problem is like, okay, well, what do I pair it with? And it becomes a fishing expedition. Sometimes that's fun if the sauce is really good tasting. Like I said, this one is more in the middle for me. I wouldn't say it's bad. I wouldn't say it's good. It's just kind of there. And those sauces, it just... I don't intentionally forget about them, but when there's other sauces that I find tastier, I'll kind of forget they're around until, like I said, I need door shelf space, and I'm like, oh. This one, though, I will say will be appearing in the 2024 wing thing for Q4. So I will be attempting it on chicken wings to see how that goes as well. Who knows? Maybe it'll be good there. Maybe it'll just be in the rotation there. I don't know. Those things, I can't ever completely accurately predict that because sometimes I don't think they're that good, wind up actually being quite good. So, but that'll be where it is from there. Although this video is probably going to be posted after the Q4 2024 wing thing, just because of timing and stuff. This one's not going to be up until probably 2025, and I do the wing things at the end of every quarter to both pay homage to the hot ones and to try out sauces in a different context, as well as to kind of try to clean the fridge a little bit. But yeah, it's another sauce I think, honestly, I would say is more interesting than good. And if you've read a lot, paid attention to my reviews or videos over time, you know that's a phrase that periodically crops up, and I think this one is probably a pretty good definition of that, and we'll just leave it right there. So that was the Spice Dog Sailor Sky Hot Sauce. Now go forth in peace to serve the flame.